Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our final program for UN Habitat Urban October. We always start with World Habitat Day, the 1st of October, and then the last of October is World Cities Day, which will be celebrated officially in Kenya on Saturday. And so we stuck with our Monday timeline, and so our theme this time is building people-focused smart cities. The future is now. So the idea here is the world is rapidly becoming more digital. The explosion in digital technologies is playing a major role in shaping our cities, from the Internet of Things to digital platforms for service delivery and 5G coming on for autonomous mobility. And so our challenge here is to set a new direction that favors inclusive, resilient, and sustainable use of technologies by local government. So all of these technologies are coming online, and what we want to make sure is that they benefit our entire communities and everyone in the community. So that's the general theme today. We've got a lot of great speakers lined up. In fact, this is our International Day. We're going to have speakers from China. We have a video message from Nigeria. One of our speakers will be talking about a city in Canada, but he's in Korea. So let's move right into our welcome session. And I'm going to ask Eugenia Foxworth, who is FIABCI USA President-elect, to give us a message. She will be taking the reins of FIABCI USA next year. So Eugenia?
Good afternoon and good morning to all of you that are on this webinar. It is my pleasure to be here. As Bill said, I am the President-elect for FIABCI. And I'm also the owner of Foxworth Realty in New York City. As you all know, FIABCI has been an official partner since 2016 with the UN World Habitat for Urban Development, during their campaign. And it's really, really quite a special, I guess you would say, it's what they did. They were ahead of others, and becoming a partner has really helped things move a little faster. And we have more, as you can see, more people involved from around the world. So what I would like to speak on briefly is New York. One of the buildings that's in New York was developed and built in 2007. And what they did, I think they were ahead of the edge at that time. They turned an area that was not, as one would say, the most desirable area into one of the, as we say, hottest and desirable areas in Harlem. The building is called the Kalahari. What they did, it became a green building. It was one of the first green buildings in New York. They also brought the community in from building the aspect of the building. Since you mentioned Africa, since there are a lot of African Americans in Harlem, the architecture is that of Africa. If you look at it, you would recognize it. So what I wanted to say is they brought the community in. They brought first affordable housing. There's something like 285 units, and of that, 30% was for people that incomes were not at the top. And you can move there without a maximum income. There's no minimum income. And the other percentage was just, regular incomes and professions. What they had in there is community center. They have health services. They also have a library, a movie room. Oh, just things that a gym, whereas the outside community can come in. Their art gallery has many of the local artists that can come. They may have an artist on occasion in residence. So that was one of the beginnings. And keep in mind, that was 2007. FIABCI USA, or the local chapter, it was FIABCI USA, gave them an award because they're a lead building. At that time, people were like saying, how do we do it? What do we do it? They have outdoor space, etc. And the one thing that they do once a week, one of the various farmers that go for the outdoor fairs that we have in New York, they bring the vegetables in because that was lacking. In Harlem, they did not have like the fruit stands and, you know, the fresh vegetables. I mean, not that there was anything wrong. They had the big stores that were there, but you couldn't get the fresh fruits, etc., as they did now. And then, and it is sustainable, which fits right into what all of you are interested in. Then, of course, you know, Columbia University. Columbia University started their Manhattan project, which was in Harlem on the west side. And they relocated people so that they could do their building, but they did it in such a manner. The people that were relocated, actually, a lot of them went into the buildings that they built afterwards. And if they had a water view, because the Hudson River is there, or they had an open space, they got their new homes within those buildings. And it really has helped the community. Some of the houses weren't residents, the people weren't relocated. The buildings remained, and they stayed within the 16 acres that they did for this project. And in doing that, you can walk in and out. There are restaurants, there are gyms, there are coffee shops. So it's transparent. You know, it's a community. It's what everyone has been trying to do. And considering that Columbia was built in the 1800s, they brought it to the 21st century. And I'd also like to congratulate Judy Cites on the wonderful program that she did for the Grand Prix last Friday. And there were several of the developers from Hawaii, Seattle, and various places. And it was wonderful. And some of the buildings were affordable and sustainable. So congratulations to you, Judy. Thank you for having me on this wonderful webinar. And thank you so very much, Bill, for inviting me.
Thank you. Thank you very much for officially opening us on our webinar and welcoming us. So thank you very much. Yes, we were able to have dinner at the Kalahari, a restaurant there some years back. And it's a great building. It really a lot of artists in the building. And as Eugenia talked about, both the Kalahari and the Columbia are modern, but they bring the community in and make sure that they're contributing to the community and not isolated from the community throughout the entire process. And I think we're going to hear more about those types of things as we go forward. So now I would like to invite Wataru Kawasaki, who is with UN Habitat. I think originally you were in New York, and then you were in Nairobi, and now you're in Japan. So Wataru, we're very, very glad to have you again. Wataru was with us in our very, very first UN Habitat Day celebration 2 years ago. And so he's going to give us a little information about UN Habitat and the activities of UN Habitat.
Thank you. Thank you, Bill, and everyone. Good morning from Japan. Yes, as you said, Bill, I was in New York, UN Habitat office in New York, and then I moved to Nairobi, Kenya, where UN Habitat is headquartered. But for the moment, I'm back in Japan, where we have regional office for Asia Pacific. And then that's also, that's my hometown, the Fukuoka city. Forum Coordination Unit office that is belonging to the new division that is External Relations, Strategy, Knowledge, and Innovation Division in Nairobi, Kenya, UN Habitat headquarters. So as you know, the World Cities Day, that is the last day of Urban October. And I like to talk about World Cities Day a little bit, and also taking this opportunity, I like to talk about the World Urban Forum, that is, next World Urban Forum, that is 11th session of the World Urban Forum in Katowice, Poland in 2022. So Jenny, can you show the PowerPoint? Yeah, thank you. So I think we can go on to the next slide. So the World Cities Day, we have a global observance, as Bill already mentioned. We have a global observance this year that is in Nakuru County in Kenya. So there will be a round tables on working together to build resilient and sustainable cities and communities. So it's not too late to register if you are willing to join in the round tables. There's a registration link. I think I put in the registration link in the PowerPoint so that you can join us. I think it's Saturday in Nairobi, Kenya time. But if you have time and if you can join, and that would be great to have your contribution to our World Cities Day. And then like to talk about the World Urban Forum. The reason why I like to talk about World Urban Forum is because World Urban Forum is not one-time event. Well, as you may know, we had 10th session of the World Urban Forum, that is UF 10, that was in Abu Dhabi in February. So that UN conference was the almost the first physical conference in this year, and then last physical conference because of the COVID. But the next World Urban Forum will be in 2022 in Poland, in Katowice city. So the World Urban Forum objectives, we have 4, but I don't read any the details. I can share with you this PowerPoint so that we can we will know about more World Urban Forum. So it's a very unique conference because the UN conference is pretty much national governments led, but this World Urban Forum is stakeholders led. So there is no legislative bounded. So of course, national governments will join, but they also we welcome the other stakeholders, private sector, business partners, mayors, governors, youth, academics, and diplomat communities. Everyone can join to this World Urban Forum to discuss, debate the sustainable urbanization, urban issues. So it's pretty much global event, but in the run-up to this World Urban Forum, we have different events, meetings, conferences, and then this Urban October events is a part of the intersessional advocacy events to the next World Urban Forum. So this is why I'm talking about World Urban Forum, and I'm so honored to speak about this, taking this opportunity to be part of your the meeting today. So the next one is the mapping of the World Urban Forum. We call it now UF Alumni Cities. Since 2002, we started the World Urban Forum from Nairobi, and then now we finished 2020 World Urban Forum in Abu Dhabi. So the next will be 2022. So biannually, we've been organizing the World Urban Forums. And the next one. In Abu Dhabi, well, as an outcome document of the World Urban Forum, we usually have declarations, like a key recommendations statement from the host country in collaboration with the participants. So it used to be a declarations, but from World Urban Forum 10, we decided to go for declared actions. That is more action-oriented statement declarations. So we had many actions oriented commitments, declarations through these World Urban Forum 10. So we continue going with the declared actions for the next World Urban Forum. And next, please. So this year marked 75th year of UN. So 75 years ago, the UN Charter was signed, and that charter would set the strategy and the stage for years of cooperation towards the peace and security. So to make the United Nations a catalyst for what we know as sustainable development now. So about 2015, we had Agenda 2030, and then we have 10 years to achieve this sustainable development goals. So we call this decade as a decade of action. So we like to see an action to achieve the sustainable development goals. So UF10, and in this February, we kicked off this decade of action as an UN conference. So all the participants who came to World Urban Forum 10, they had a view, the shared and their common view and their thoughts on this decade of action, how the World Urban Forum, how each of the individual can contribute to the sustainable development goals. Next one. And then this is just an announcement. We have completed the offshore report of the World Urban Forum 10 that is already published in our website. So some of you might have already received a notification or email from our side to announce this publication. But you may, if you are interested to know more about World Urban Forum, you may go visit our UN Habitat website to download this publication. And next one is Road to WOOF 10. We've been already communicating with the host country, that is Poland, and Katowice is the city to host the World Urban Forum 11th. So we've been already discussing the theme and also the program, how we like to discuss the key themes, and also how we like to build the partnerships. Not only Poland, not only the Europe, but also the global level. And the next World Urban Forum is 2022. We have almost 1.5 years to go, but we continue promoting international advocacy events. So one of the examples is a national urban forums. We've been actually, before the World Urban Forum 10, we had almost 25 national urban forum in the different countries, in different regions, to promote, to mobilize partners to the World Urban Forum 10. So we continue promoting the national urban forums in different countries, and in the run-up to our UF 10. The UF 11. So as I said about the declared actions, we have launched the implementation of the Urban Agenda Platform. That is knowledge tool to collect those committed actions in the website, and then for monitoring and for reviewing the progress of the implementing of these committed actions. Next slide is about this Urban Agenda Platform. So it's already on the website. There is a link, UN Habitat. It's part of the UN Habitat website, but I think it's dedicated website, www.urbanagendaplatform.org. So you can have a look, and then there are so many actions-oriented commitments since Habitat 3, the UN Conference on Housing and Urban Development, Sustainable Urban Development in 2016 in Quito. We had many actions that we received, so we put them all in this one platform so that we can continue monitoring and reviewing with the national governments and also the partners. So the national urban forums and also this time the conferences, meeting, events during this WOOF period, it goes, we like to have a statement, key recommendations, the kind of the declarations as an outcome document, and then we can upload on this Urban Agenda platform as your commitment, as your actions. And then we can showcase the progress on how all of us been contributing the decade of action in UF 11, next World Urban Forum. So that is the plan for us to continue working with us towards the decade of action as well as the next World Urban Forum. And next slide is about, as earlier, as I said, World Urban Forum is not a one-time event. It's more continuation of advocacy campaign. So this wonderful opportunity of World Cities Day in Hawaii, in the different places, that could be a part of our advocacy campaign that is linking to the next World Urban Forum. This is just showing the examples that we have engaged with the partners towards the World Urban Forum 10 2020. And the next slide is, I think I already touched upon on the National Urban Forum, so I don't explain about this, but the it's a national urban forum. It's a national-led forum and a conference and event. But we have a couple of different forums. That is Moscow Urban Forum and Tel Aviv Urban Forum. So like a city-based, city-led urban forum is also existing. So we've been encouraging our partners at the city level, at partners level, and national level to organize to this urban forum to mobilize the partners and advocate sustainable urbanization. Thank you very much for giving us this opportunity to be part of your conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We were in Abu Dhabi in February, and the world has changed so much since then. Let's, this was an official invitation to everyone on the webinar to make plans to be in Poland, which will probably be in February again. Do we know the dates?
Not yet, but most probably June.
Later, okay.
Because this time, the Kuala Lumpur and Abu Dhabi, it was a hot place. So February will be the best season, but Poland, now it's cold. So they like to, have it in the summertime.
Perfect. Good. Excellent. Well, thank you very much. And to reiterate, FIABCI is an official partner of the World Urban Campaign. And so we continue to upload our documents, and this is part of the Urban Campaign. And so I think step by step, we're building a really good good opportunity here for working with the UN and building our communities. So thank you very much, Wataru, and we will see you soon.
See you in Honolulu, yes.
Yeah, Honolulu, yes, come. Excellent. So now from Japan, we're going to go to Korea. We're very excited to have Cha Chung-ha with us. He is an urban planner and thinker. He's been in the finance industry for 20 years, and then he established the Reimagining Cities Foundation under the Korea Green Building Council not-for-profit umbrella. So the idea is imagining a world, so reimagining a world with 100% renewable energy, clean air, healthy and happy environment where we can all live, work, and play in harmony with nature. He has a really impressive background working in many of the big companies, and I'm going to turn it over to him because he's got a really great presentation. So Cha, take it away.
Thank you very much, Bill, and thank you, Bill and Evan, Jenny, for having me join this esteemed group. So I'm very happy to be here. Thank you. Thank you to Eugenia and Wataru, great presentations. And I'm here to talk about financing the road to smart, sustainable cities. I love this notion of envisioning a world where digital technology and intelligent design will be harnessed to create smart, sustainable cities with high quality living and high quality jobs. I'd like to introduce myself first. I do that in numbers. I'm born in 1957 in Korea. And then my parents brought me to the United States in 1963. So I did all of my schooling on the East Coast. In 79, I graduated college. 85, I graduated with an MBA. 87, my wife tells me that I have to put that number in there, that we got married in 87. And actually we lived in Hawaii for 3 years. So our first daughter is Kama'aina. And I returned to Korea in 1992 after working in Japan for about 3 years, from 1989 to 1992. I've been in finance for a little over 20 years. These are the organizations I used to work with. I got some real estate experience when I was CEO of Lone Star Real Estate Funds here in Korea. I've been into green buildings, smart cities, sustainability for about 12 years. Established this small foundation called Reimagining Cities. And this is the intersection where we like to focus our research, our advocacy. What we like to do is build three things: build awareness, build capabilities through workshops. And these days we like to focus a lot more on building projects to showcase what we mean by smart, sustainable cities. We collaborate with these city organizations from around the world to get a better understanding of what cities are looking for. Smart Cities Council in Washington, D.C., WeGo in Seoul, ASEAN Smart Cities Network in Singapore. And then we collaborate with some real estate organizations to understand what the real estate industry community, what they're looking for, what are some of their challenges. And I'm finding out as I do research on FIABCI, and maybe FIABCI is the organization that we should be collaborating with as we accelerate smart cities around the world. I always like to start with trying to think about why. And I guess depending on which area you're from, what your interests are, the question why are we doing smart cities can differ, sometimes quite substantially. So when we look at the problem, we look at cities are the problem, and we have global urbanization. I think the UN has estimated about 1.5 million people move into the cities. That's more every week, I should add. 1.5 million people every week. and all the challenges that cities face with where do they all, where's the affordable housing, their education, jobs, the energy that they will use, the traffic congestion, the water, sanitation. There's incredible amount of challenges that cities face today. So the solution are the cities. And someone told me, well, Ed Masria of Architecture 2030 said, Cha, you have to focus on the new builds as well as the existing buildings. But the new builds are quite important because 60% of the buildings that make up the cities or of what we'll see in 2050 are not yet built. Put it another way, he told me, Ed Masria told me that based on UN data, actually, 92 billion square meters will be built to 2030. And what does 92 billion square meters mean? He said that's building all of London every week. Every week. I mean, not every week. All of London every year, right? So that's an incredible amount of construction. If we don't do that right, we're going to lock ourselves into the inefficiencies of today's building codes. So cities are the problem and cities are the solution. And that's why we like to look at smart cities. And maybe part of the solution is working with you guys. So I kind of added that early this morning to relate. Why? These are typical pictures we see today, right? This is why. Why? Because I think there's a better way. And we need to rethink how we want to build our cities of the future, reimagining cities, right? Why? I think we can say, when we study the global trends in smart, sustainable cities, what's happening in Europe, in the United States, and in Africa, in Asia, all over the world, I think it's quite commonplace that the cities want to become smart and sustainable is to drive local economic growth, to attract investors and talent, and obviously to improve the quality of life for the residents and visitors. What we're hoping is that at the same time, in a very holistic point of view, we're also going to address rapid urbanization and climate change challenges and embrace carbon neutral cities as we go toward those goals. And put it simply, I say smart cities must be sustainable cities. And sustainability is defined by the triple bottom line of people, planet, profit. So what I like to say is we need to start thinking a little bit more deeply as to what is the shared smart city vision. So these are some of the things that maybe the cities or the communities want to see, but we also have other stakeholders, i.e. real estate community, the real estate developers and investors. I'm not sure how many of us know this little girl, Greta, spelled Thunberg, but I think she says it Thunberg. But she's Swedish, and she started a strike. This is her sitting all alone in front of the Swedish parliament saying that we need to do something about climate change. And the politicians and big businesses are doing nothing. She created a movement, and over a year, she took off school, and she created a global movement of all these people, the community, wanting positive change with respect to climate change. And back in 2015, when the UN Sustainable Development Goals first began, right, 2016 to 2030, they adopted at the Paris Agreement, or the COP21, Buildings Day, because they recognize that if we don't drive down energy consumption and greenhouse gas emissions from the building sector, we would not have any chance of achieving the goals of keeping global warming within 1.5 to 2 degrees. So it brought buildings to the forefront. It brought the fact that the real estate community has a very, very important role to play going forward. we look at global emissions, and you know, when you look at global emissions, you'll see different pie charts. You can see, you know, very, you know, what's coming from agriculture or eating meat, and you know, there are very complicated ones as well. But I just took this one as a simple one to drive home a message that, hey, the real estate has, you know, about a third is coming from the real estate sector, how we build, how we design, build, and operate our buildings. And if we design our cities correctly, with TOD, with less dependence on cars, with electrification of the public transport system, we can have a very big impact on that transportation. So if we focus on buildings and real estate, we can make a big difference to climate action. And this is a chart to say we're not doing very well. You know, we talk about everything that we're doing. Oh, we're doing this, we're doing that. We put in LED lights and we have energy efficiency measures. But if we just look at what we want to achieve, meaning reduce greenhouse gases, it's going in the wrong direction. Again, why? Why is smart, sustainable communities important for real estate developers? And I think we want to build a more competitive product, mixed-use developments that embrace the lifestyles of tomorrow, and I think sustainability is a big part of that. This is a key point. This is my elevator pitch to very large, rich real estate developers. And you know, we want to help you build, design, build, and operate greener and smarter without overinvesting. And maybe because of the increase in climate legislation, we need to take a proactive risk management toward that, i.e. the New York Mobilization Act, for one, they are requiring large building owners to reach a certain level of building energy standards, meaning they have to drive down energy. And the ULI fall meeting, I was interviewing or just meeting with a bunch of people to talk about this new legislation. And they're saying that it's going to cost existing building owners about $10 billion of increased cost to existing building owners. So that's a risk that needs to be managed. After why, then we kind of think about how. And I'm speaking to governments and to the real estate community. And the governments, I say that you don't have enough money to address the challenges of rapid urbanization, all those millions of people moving into your cities every week, and to address climate change. So you have to work with the private sector. And amongst the private sector, the real estate community, I think global wealth in real estate is maybe 60% of global wealth, more than all the stocks and bonds out there. So I think it's a nice private sector to coordinate with. Building a shared vision toward desired outcomes. I think we need more dialogue between cities and real estate developers. I think we can help each other in a very positive win-win kind of a way. And I will share what we're doing at Lakeview Village in the city of Mississauga as we're unfolding and moving that project along. I like when we talk about how, talking about the code for smart communities. It's this document written by the Smart Cities Council. And it's like the cliff notes of what to do in building smart communities. And I'll share a few slides on what I mean by that. And of course, we believe that innovation districts and digital twins are the key enablers to advance smart cities efficiently and effectively. And it's that data is the basis upon which you can advance or grow your local economies based on the technologies that we need of the future. So this is the Smart Communities Code for Smart Communities I was just mentioning, this one. And he's saying that we need a clear smart communities framework, right? For livability, workability, and sustainability. And that's a 30,000-foot level, mission or vision there. And to the smart communities framework, they're saying that they believe that community scale transformation is the most effective way to influence whole cities and the regions. Meaning, you can't make all of San Francisco or all of Seattle or all of Berlin or all of, Chengdu or Shanghai a smart city all of a sudden. What we have to do is work in pockets, to create positive showcases where businesses and the government and the citizens can touch and feel what is it. What is smart and sustainable cities? So we like to focus on large scale projects. Large mixed use developments is my favorite. And we got to embrace the carbon neutral and circular economy goals within these projects. Of course, we want to improve the lives of citizens, and we've got to build in that how do we drive local economic growth? And by doing so, we're hoping that we can also inspire the world for many other cities and developers around the world to do similar community scale transformations. So this is Lakeview. This is, Bill said there's this Korean guy sitting in Seoul working on a project in Canada. Well, it's called Lakeview. And this is Toronto on the horizon. It's about 25 kilometers away. And this rendering right here is Lakeview Village, a mixed use development. This marina here is existing. And what I especially like about this is it's kind of romantic in the sense that this site, which is about 180 acres, 70 hectares plus or minus, it was a coal-fired power plant that was decommissioned, and now they took it all down and they're working on the civil work. This is the master plan. So it's about a US $6 billion development, including land and all the build-out costs. And it's 8,000 apartments plus some non-residential areas, the office within a innovation district objective. The master plan, as developed by Sasaki out of Boston, was approved in late 2019, and we're working on how can we get the first phase developed by late next year or early 2022. Well, I should say two things that we're working on more specifically is on this overall development is to do district energy modeling and simulation. There's about 100 buildings here. And what we want to do is try to see how much energy for what purposes, heating, cooling, lighting, plug loads, will this community be using overall. So it's part of like a sustainable master planning part of the process that includes an integrated energy master plan. So can we use passive design strategies to drive down energy without even spending any money, just shifting the massing or the orientation of the buildings, which doesn't cost money, could substantially impact how much energy that this community will be using. So that's one overall energy strategy. And then here is the non-residential piece, the innovation district. So we're taking a deep dive, drilling down into the strategy for the innovation district. So the innovation district, which I would strongly recommend to many other cities around the world, is the notion of the quadruple helix governance model. And many of us talk about public-private partnerships. And we added 2 more, which are the citizens and academia. And this notion of the quadruple helix is applied under the name of urban design centers in a little over 20 smart city projects throughout Japan. And I had the pleasure of meeting some people of the UDC and visiting one of the projects, UDC-K, which is the Kashiwa no Ha smart city, a little bit north of Tokyo. And that was University of Tokyo was the academia leader. Mitsui Fudosan was the private leader. And very, very interesting ways. I think it's worth studying to apply on all projects that we are allowing inclusive co-creation of these major together with these major stakeholders. So applying it to Mississauga, right? Building a shared vision, aligning our objectives. We looked at some of their city goals. Here's the economic development strategy of Mississauga to 2025. They had a smart city master plan, a transportation master plan, a climate action master plan, and even a post-COVID economic recovery framework. And the city of Mississauga is asking Lakeview developers to, hey, how can we use that development to help spur economic recovery post-COVID? So we looked at these desired outcomes for the development. And what we're doing now is we're actually tonight, we're having a big powwow with several departments of the city of Mississauga, the developer of Lakeview Village, myself, and a few other consultants to talk about how can we, what would you like to see in Lakeview Village? You know, how can we coordinate toward a common, to common goals and objectives? So there's a drill down of that economic development plan, and we're talking with several city officials, and we kind of adopted this global drivers of change. This is their publication, but the digital, the sustainable, and talent, right? And so what we wanted to do as part of our development is how can we drive economic prosperity through digital transformation. So one of the things that we're adopting is digital twinning. And we have to develop this in more details, right? And develop the metrics as to what will constitute a success. Measurable objectives, I should say. Let's see. Oops. On the climate action front, this was a study by Siemens, and they performed a study for the city of Mississauga, saying that, hey, this is back last year. So, and we encourage cities to work with the private sector to come up with a study, a roadmap. But what they found out was using 1990 as a baseline, 2016, they've already reduced their greenhouse gas emissions by 12%. And then by 2050, they have the opportunity to reduce it over 80%. And it's a really nice kind of roadmap as to how you can get there. And what I'm seeing for the real estate sector, look at this, you know, there's a big chunk coming from buildings again, and how we design our communities, mixed use developments in our cities, we can impact that transportation piece as well. So, you know, when we talk about smart cities, everyone jumps on, oh, what kind of technologies are you going to use? You know, are you going to have district energy? Are you going to use geothermal? How about solar panels? And, you know, that conversation is almost never ending because there are so many technologies that we could potentially use. So we said, hey, city, hey, Lakeview developer, let's think about the desired outcomes that's in alignment with the city objectives, which are the same 5 that I showed you earlier. And then we can start to look at what are some of the approaches and enabling technologies. And I say approaches because it doesn't always have to be technologies, right? It's just a way of approaching how do we drive employment? How do we drive digital innovation? What does it mean, digital innovation, and things like that. And then after we get this framework, we look at what kind of ecosystem we need to build. And this is through discussions with that quadruple helix again, the public, private, academia, and community. And we do that on an ongoing basis at Lakeview. And then we can start to understand, what partners can help us achieve those desired outcomes. We've got companies, we've got universities, and this is the community, the ecosystem that we are speaking with. Well, this is just the tip of the iceberg. We're speaking to many others, but it can kind of give you a framework as to a curated ecosystem that we want to make at the Innovation District to achieve these desired outcomes. I really like this framework. It was made by us, that's why. I don't know how you guys out there think about it, but I think it's a good way of applying this framework to, and different cities will have different desired outcomes and abilities on what approaches or technologies to adopt. Important thing is the public-private academia community and get a nice discussion going. And when you look at that, when we looked at smart mobility as a possible desired outcome, and we looked at autonomous vehicles, I was amazed at all the different types of technologies that you need to make it work, right? And so these would be the companies that we would want to try to bring over to Lakeview Village to become technology partners, but also to become tenants. And then you can create a very powerful engine to create jobs, to create economic growth, to export those technologies to other countries. Okay. My slides are jumping back and forth. Sorry about that. This can be a very long discussion, but I wanted to put this out there as, digital twins. Everyone has different definitions or takeaways. And we're trying to simplify it by saying, okay, we've got public clouds on the right, and let's define that as all the data sets that the government needs to do its job more efficiently. Things like city planning, traffic management, management of the infrastructure of energy, waste, and water, and things like this. Then on the left-hand side, the private clouds, and there could be many, not just one, but hundreds of private clouds. But we're focusing on the digital twin for real estate, right? So this is a 3D model on the left-hand side of Lakeview Village. What kind of data do we need to collect from that? And then share both the public cloud and the private cloud, share not all of their data, but the data that they choose to share onto this open data platform. And that is the platform upon which you can drive innovation and economic growth. For the digital twin real estate, these are the 4 areas that we are focusing on right now. And I think this will have value to the bottom line. We're linking some of these aspects to actually the financials. How much increase in net operating income can you achieve by driving down energy? And if you have increase in net operating income, divide that by a cap rate, and then you have increase in asset value. So a simple example on energy efficiency would be, let's say you can save $50,000 on a building by driving down energy. That's not sexy, it's a very small amount of money. in the eyes of large real estate owners. But $50,000 a year multiplied by 100 buildings, that's $5 million savings of energy every year. But we can also say that $5 million of savings is $5 million of increased net operating income. So you increase your income every year by 5 million. And then if you put a cap rate of 5%, that would be $5 million divided by 0.055%, $100 million of increased asset value of your portfolio. So now that is starting to get to bigger numbers and very well worth the effort to look at that. And then we have health and well-being, space utilization, and safety and security. So put it another way, this is a 3D model of Lakeview. And for energy, you know, we're trying to get to climate positive. So we're using this kind of digital twin, and let's get all the data in there. But why don't we put all of the energy consumption on one side for heating, cooling, lighting, hot water, ventilation, electric vehicles, plug loads, and see how much energy that they're using. And then we can look at energy use intensity, kilowatt hours per square meter per annum, or BTU per square foot per year in the United States. And that's how the energy is being used. And what we need to do is set measurable objectives on kilowatt hours as to driving that down, right? And at the same time, on the energy supply side, let's put all the data together on this side and then categorize the different types of fuels to say which one is fossil fuels or dirty fuels and which is clean energy. And from this kind of analytics, you can say, oh, we're 30% clean energy mix. And then from this, you can set measurable objectives to say, oh, by 2025 or by next year, we want to get that energy mix increase 5% every year so that we are, close to 80% clean energy. Or these days, a lot of companies, cities are adopting the 100% renewable energy goals as well. So this is part of our idea. This is a dashboard that our team designed a while ago, but this type of information, these type of dashboards can help understand exactly where are our goals and where are we today. Are we doing better? Are we doing worse? So the gist is Lakeview Innovation District on the right. We're going to work with the residents on the left, and applying this quadruple helix model, we're going to try to curate a community where residents and researchers work together to co-create the future of smart, sustainable communities and cities. Next steps, I think, these are a couple of things that came to mind. More dialogue with the cities and real estate developers, looking at potential sites for revitalization within the cities, and always thinking about within that clear smart cities, smart communities framework. Of course, innovation districts and digital twins to drive local growth. My slides are kind of delaying. So what are some next steps? Some topics for real estate developers. What I have down here was part of the concept note that Bill had made, and I thought it was right on, right? We need to have more detailed discussions on how can real estate developers build in competitive differentiators, right, within a holistic design strategy. How do we future-proof? How do we use the spectrum of design, build, operate so that we do achieve investment objectives, but also smart city objectives at the same time? And how can developers avoid overinvestments to enhance profitability while they're doing good? Yeah. And this was one of the slides from previous. So we can, what are some of the next steps? I think we need to have more in-depth discussions with cities and developers on some of these that I had mentioned earlier in this deck. This was another slide. So we can, have additional meetings, Zooms, workshops to discuss some of these things as to how we can spur large transformations. And as we get to the end, let's reimagine future cities together. We got to build scalable, sustainable, and bankable smart cities. And inspired by nature is what we like, powered by data and technology, roadmap to carbon neutral circular cities. And that's it. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very, very much. This is a lot of information for us to absorb, but it's really the idea here. Hopefully you can stay with us. We've got another couple of presentations, and then we do have several city officials from the city of Honolulu on the call. And so I'm sure that they have some interesting questions for you and how we can work together, because I think as we talked about on the 5th and 6th with housing and public-private partnerships with people, all of this is really pertinent to what we're talking about. And so it's very, very exciting. And so thank you very, very much. It's very, very exciting. We'll make sure this is being taped, so we'll have people can watch the video later on YouTube to kind of look at those slides, and we'll get everybody the information. So thank you very much. We're ready to go to Jeff now, and we're going from Canada and Korea and Japan to China. And we're very, very fortunate to have city officials from Chengdu, China. And so Jeff is going to introduce them, and they're going to give us a presentation on Chengdu, which is one of the big cities in China. So Jeff, take it away.
Thank you very much, Bill. I can't help but be amazed by Chung-Hwa Cha's presentation and his work with the Sasaki Group. I'm somewhat familiar with the Sasaki Group because they are designing a multi-million-dollar building for my university, Lehigh University in Pennsylvania, with a health science technology center, and their work is just outstanding.
Very nice.
Be a part of, and also
that's great to hear.
Right, and I also would like to. I heard that you said you lived in Honolulu for a number of years, also.
Yes.
So,
86
aloha.
to 89.
All
Mahalo.
right.
555 University. Is it University Avenue?
Yes.
Iolani.
Oh yes, by Iolani School. Yes.
Yeah.
I live in Manoa, right behind Punahou. So.
Oh, I know, it's beautiful, nice and green.
But I did want to mention one other thing when we talk about sustainable cities. My family's company, Finance Factors Finance Realty, built one of the very first planned communities here in Hawaii, and that was Makakilo many years ago, even before Mililani. So we always have had a strong interest in sustainable and smart cities. But today we're skipping halfway around the world in the opposite direction. I see Ed Hawkins also there, and he is quite familiar with both of our speakers today, as he has visited Chengdu with me as part of our Sister City program here in Honolulu. In 2010, we made Chengdu a sister city to Honolulu, and I was on that mission to establish the relationships. And that's when I met our next speaker. We were just amazed at how quickly and how fast that the interior part of China has developed. We always hear about Beijing and Shanghai and the Pearl River Delta with Shenzhen and Guangzhou, but to go inland to Sichuan province, where many of the workers were coming out to the coast from, to see that develop was quite spectacular. Their lifestyle also is similar to Hawaii in that they are a little more laid back, but still very industrious at the same time. And it's just been a wonder to see the development there. some of the highlights there in the Tianfu area, it's all high-tech industries. Half of the Fortune 500 companies are already there, including Foxconn cranking out iPads by the thousands, and many other industries. So it's a great place to visit. So if you have an opportunity, please get out there and take a look at some of the spectacular things that they are doing. 2 brand new subway lines go to service that area, and they're building an additional brand new airport to supplement their current airport, which is the 30th largest in the world as it is. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce first Ron Ron, who is the Senior Staff Officer in the Chengdu Municipal Government for Foreign Affairs for the areas of Oceania and North America, including the US and Canada. She's going to discuss some of the highlights of the development that's going on there. Now I caution you, Chunghwa, yours went into extreme detail. They're not going to take that approach. We needed to make sure we had people that could speak fluent English and that could get across the major developments that are ongoing in Sichuan province. So without further ado, it's Yu Ran, Senior Staff Officer there for America and Canadian Affairs. She is a graduate of University College in London with an MA in International Public Policy. And she is also a graduate of Renmin University in Beijing with a master's in English and American Literature. So ahead, Lauren.
Thank you very much, Jeff, for your very detailed and kind introduction on me and our city. Chengdu and Honolulu have been sister cities for many years. This is the first time for us to have a meeting online.
And Miss Sibebe is joining us.
Oh, okay. Sir Bebe is the chief of staff over there on the side. She is a driving force behind this Sister City program. She has actually visited us in Honolulu when we signed the Sister City agreement, and she has spoken at the City and County of Honolulu's Sister City Summit in the past. So welcome, Sir Bebe. Good to see you. We're very fortunate to have her be here.
Makes the cross-border communication very challenging this year, but I'm very glad channels for dialogue are still open thanks to the help of modern technology. And it's my pleasure to share the information of our city to you. It's just a pity that the person in charge of the planning of the smart city development of Chengdu cannot speak English. So I would just make some general and maybe shallow introduction of our city to you. Very beginning, Chengdu, as seen on the map, is in the mid-western part of China. It's a capital city of Sichuan province. And you can see on the photo, the downtown of the city, very modern, but it's actually one of the 10 nation cities in China. It's also a member of the World Cities Culture Forum. And also, many people know Chengdu because it's a hometown to Giant Panda. The area of the city is 14,300 square kilometers with a population of 21 million. And still, with the urbanization, the population is still growing. In 2019, the annual GDP of the city targets 1.7 trillion RMB. That's about 253.8 trillion US dollars. It's number 8 among all Chinese cities. For the first half of this year, the GDP of the city is about 123.9 trillion US dollars. although for the first quarter, the increase of GDP decreased a little bit, halfway for the second quarter, it grew a lot. And all in all, in the first half of the year, the growth rate is about 0.6%. So you can see, although affected by COVID-19, the economy is still growing. With many years of dynamic development, the city now has strengthened its position as Western China's center for economy, finance, technology, and science, culture, and creativity. It's also now very important transportation and telecommunication hub. This is the latest ranking by Globalization in the World City in August. And you see, Chengdu is ranking by 59. It's only first tier city, the newly listed first tier cities in China, who is included in the Beta Plus group. And although in the inland of China, you can see we still have very open economy, have maintained good international relations with the other countries and corporations. At present, the city has maintained economic ties with countries and regions, about 235 countries and regions, and 20 countries have opened their consulate generals in Chengdu, including Germany, France, South Korea, etc. And 301 global Fortune 500 enterprises have also set up their offices or branches in the city. We have developed some cross-border industrial parks with countries like Germany, South Korea, Italy, France, Singapore, and Japan, a total of 6 cross-border industrial parks in the city now. As mentioned, the city is a very important transportation hub of the country. We have 2 airports, international airports. The first one is Shuangniu International Airport, which is now operating, and it has connections to almost every city of the country of China, and also it has 129 international near routes to cities like Frankfurt, London, Paris, San Francisco, etc. And we're building the second airport, that is Tianfu International Airport, which is now under construction and will be open to the public next year. And it has the new airport has a planned passenger throughput about 19 million per year. So from next year, we will have 2 airports running at the same time with the annual passenger through about 115 million. And as the closest megacity of China to Europe, Chengdu is also then very important international railway station. We have the International Express Railway linking to Europe. Actually, the railway is now access to 15 Chinese cities and 55 overseas cities, mostly in Central Asia and Europe. And last year, the total freight trips of the railway ranks #1 in China. The city, it's a metropolitan city, very large. So with the growing population, we are still trying to use modern technologies to make our city smarter, more frequent, more convenient for the citizens here. My colleague, Ms. Yuan Qing, will have some brief introduction of the smart city projects in the city. And after that introduction, she will also play a video about a city brain project which is a technology application with managing the city's transportation and also other parts of the city. And Ching, please.
Yes, so Ching is a graduate of Wuhan University, and she also has a master's degree from Michigan State University here in the United States. So welcome, Ching.
Hello, everyone. Nice to see you online today. I'm going to talk about the Chengdu Smart City project. It is called Chengdu E-Governance Center, nicknamed as Chengdu City Brain. It is built in May 2018 and finished in the end of 2018 and put into use after that. So it has been running on for like more than 1 year, and it covers the overall floor area is more than 7,500 square meters, and it has 6 main functions or roles. They are economic operation, market supervision, social management, public service, environmental protection, and social appeals. By social appeals, it means citizens can propose questions, suggestions, or complaints to the mayor or any department of Chengdu municipal government. So this kind of through official website or APPs. So this project increase the citizen participation in city management and also improve the smart governance. And the city brain connects to 245 government department systems and public utilities, including the water, gas, electricity, power companies. So they have the brain collects all the data into a pool, and puts all of them on one diagram and puts it on a big screen on the wall. So honestly speaking, I don't know how they make it happen, because it sounds too scientific to me as an art student. So the city officials are better prepared to reply to emergencies like the floods, traffic congestion, environmental pollution, and hidden safety hazards using all those kind of data. And it plays an important role in our COVID-19 prevention and control in early this year. In a word, the city brain is able to analyze, predict, and enact emergency command online at any time and under any weather condition. So to achieve that, it has adopted a range of technologies, including 5G, cloud computing, the Internet of Things, AI, big data, etc. It helps us achieve the data-based operation, data-based management, and data-based decision making. So I will play a video introducing this project to you. It's about 5 minutes, and you will the video will explain more clearly to you about the project. There's one small error in the video. It's a translation error. It translates smart city to intelligent because smart and intelligent is the same word in Chinese. So you can replace intelligent with smart in the video. So I will share the screen. Oh, I'm sharing the screen and play the video now.
With the development of urbanization, traffic congestion, environmental pollution, and potential safety hazard have become common problems in city management. Chengdu, a national central city, adheres to the concept of innovation, coordination, green, openness, and sharing, and uses cloud computing, Internet of Things, IoT, big data, artificial intelligence, and other cutting-edge information technologies to promote intelligent city management. Through connecting the information systems of city and county and integrating data from government, enterprise, and society, the Intelligent Management Center acts as the brain of city management, the center of emergency command, and customer service center of society requirements to actively solve city management problems. In the field of economic operations, via data collection of industry, investment, consumption, price, and exportation, the center will analyze and predict economic operation, perform online monitoring of major projects to fulfill scientific management of the economic development. In the field of market supervision, the center will establish market information database, timely track production and business actions, realize precise supervision and customized service, maintain market fair and just market order. In the field of social management, the center will adopt intelligent algorithm to analyze and judge the traffic flow, vehicle speed, etc., so as to solve traffic congestions via timely traffic light adjustment. 4.8 million vehicles make Chengdu the second largest city in China, but the traffic congestion index of the city ranks only 16. IoT is adopted to provide real-time online monitoring on the city's key hazardous chemical zone and control points, which will ensure the early risk detection and public safety sustainability. In the field of public services, internet, TV, self-service terminal, mobile terminal, and other methods are available for public services. Over 90% of the approval services can be handled online. The mobile app let the public enjoy the government's various services, which is similar to online shopping. The center will monitor the tourist flow and make prediction on the volume of within 2 hours, and the travel service will be adjusted accordingly to better serve tourists. In the field of environmental protection, urban environmental pollution sources are intelligently monitored. Pollution sources, such as construction sites, transportation of slag vehicles, motor vehicles, are supervised. Combined with remote sensing satellite data, sub-regional and sub-basin water quality macroscopic tendency analysis is achieved. In 2018, the number of days with good air quality increased by 32.7%, and the number of sections with inferior level V water quality decreased by 11.5% compared with last 5 years. In the field of social requirement, acceptance platform is built to integrate the leadership mailbox, the mayor's hotline, Weibo WeChat, app, and other channels to achieve a direct way for society to solve the tricky problems, and the concept of getting the social requirement online, solving the problems in real, can be realized. The rate of problem solving and satisfaction of society are close to 90%. The Dujiangyan Water Conservancy Project, which was built more than 2,200 years ago and is still working, embodies the wisdom of the ancient Chengdu people. Today, Chengdu will continue to promote the construction of intelligent cities, share experience in intelligent city management, and build the vision of better city, better life, together.
Thank you for listening and watching. And actually, we beside Honolulu, we have sister cities in Japan, Korea, and Canada, and all over the world. And we look forward to work with you and cooperate with you. from everywhere in the world. Thank you for listening again. I will end sharing screen.
Okay, thank you, Ching. The portions that we could not hear, what they were showing was some of the original water systems that flow through the Sichuan province. It's a large flat plain area, somewhat like Denver, but it has 4 mighty rivers flowing through that area. So it's considered the land of abundance. Now, what the Chinese government did was they changed it from the land of abundance by putting in Chengdu as the central city of it. And so it's developed into a high-tech industry location. Many people leaving the farming communities and moving to the central core brain area, as she mentioned. What you saw also were a number of the commercial city areas where the latest shopping malls and shopping centers are also going into that area. What you didn't see was they also have the largest financial center building in the world there. It's actually considered the largest building in the world, physically by cubic feet. That is a central symbol of the Tianfu South District area in Chengdu. So that's the presentation I think that we have.
Ed,
I don't.
yeah, Ed, you're online if you want to say a few words about the Sister City program and welcome our guests.
Sure. Thank you, Bill. Ed Hawkins from the City and County of Honolulu, and it's good to see you, Ching. And nice to have met you, Yudon and Sibebe, Miss Sibebe. It was good seeing you again. As Jeff mentioned, how are you? As Jeff mentioned, I've had the honor and pleasure of going to Chengdu and visiting many of those places. Just totally blown away by the development and how the city services are brought together. That's the one thing that really, really impressed me is how they were brought together. You know, sister cities, I just mentioned one thing about sister cities. I'm not going to take too long because I'm looking forward to our panel discussion. And by the way, let me just real quickly introduce Mark Wong, who is our Director of Information Technology, who is joining us. And I think he'll have some great insights on what the city and county are doing, and hopefully there'll be some questions on that. But back to the sister cities, I just mentioned that, you know, the sister city relationships, they're very precious. They're people-to-people relationships, and really it was President Eisenhower in 1957 that promoted this Sister Cities International based on the Sister City system. Now there's connections all over the world with the philosophy that people need to talk to each other, and people-to-people relationships are the foundation for country-to-country relationships. And we have many issues. You know, we have political, economic, social differences, but even in times of those differences, we need to be talking. We need to be reaching out. And this is a great example with Chengdu because of such a close relationship we have. They're so generous to us. They're holding a speech contest, I guess, this just next month, and the Kalani High School has been invited. And each year there's, Jeff mentioned, the annual music festival. They continue to invite the mayor and the staff to international forums to discuss development, technology, smart cities. So we're very, very fortunate. And I just want to say thanks to everybody in the Foreign Affairs Office that have joined us today, because they're really the backbone of maintaining this relationship. And thank you for the presentation, and I look forward to the forum coming up. Thanks, Bill.
Thank you. Excellent. Well, we have one more brief presentation going all the way around, back around the world, next around the world. We have FIABCI Nigeria and Lagos. Since it is 2:30 in the morning, we didn't have them join us live, but they have a video for us that they sent to us so that they could participate and we could be truly global all around the world. So Jenny, if we have the Nigeria video.
Good evening. My name is Ayodeji Odele, the Secretary General of FIABCI Nigeria Chapter and the FIABCI Young Members Committee World Vice President. On behalf of the board and the entire membership of FIABCI Nigeria, as well as the FIABCI Young Members Committee members, I thank the board and all the membership of FIABCI USA for the opportunity extended to us to participate in this year's World City Day celebration. I also wish to congratulate the team for always coming up with innovative programs that showcase the values derivable from being part of the International Real Estate Federation, FIABCI. This year's theme for the World City Day celebration, Building People-Focused Smart Cities, the future is now, is very apt and germane to us in Nigeria and in particular to Lagos State. This is because Lagos is the largest city in Nigeria and the 6th largest city in the world. Until 1991, it was the federal capital of Nigeria. The city covers an area of approximately 360,000 hectares, of which 21% are wetlands. Data from the National Bureau of Statistics revealed that at its independence in 1960, Lagos had an estimated population of 763,000, and today it is about 15 million people. This depicts a population growth rate of about 600,000 per annum, with a population density of about 4,193 persons per square kilometers. However, Lagos is a major financial center for all Africa, and it is the economic hub of Lagos State. The mega city has the 4th highest gross domestic product in Africa and houses one of the largest and busiest seaports on the continent. It is one of the fastest growing cities in the world, and this can be attested to by the rapid transformation being experienced in the city. As it has been predicted, Nigeria's urban dwellers increased from 41% of the population to about 50%, and Lagos is one of the major urban centers in Nigeria. And as a result, Lagos experiences influx of people in search of greener pastures daily. This results into the rapid urbanization of the city. But much of this urbanization is unplanned and chaotic. This gives credit to the World Bank report about African cities, which says that African cities feel crowded precisely because they are not dense with economic activity, infrastructure or housing, and commercial structures. They have inadequate formal housing in reach of jobs and without transport systems to connect people living farther away. The realities in Lagos are, however, changing because the city administrators have commenced activities that will gradually make the city smart. Major improvements have been seen in the transportation system as the government has partnered with organizations to develop the bus rapid transport and the waterways system. Work has also commenced on the interstate rail transport project. Also, the financial services sector have experienced a lot of improvements. Many new financial technology companies have sprung up in the city, and this has improved the experience of Lagosians. Statistics shows that there are 17 million internet users in Lagos. This growth has improved the internet service provision in the city. We have seen a growth from 3G to 4G, and gradually we are moving to the 5G technology in the city. There is, however, a need for the city administrators to create a balance, as more than half of Lagosians are not educated enough to use these new technologies. The good news, however, is that 2/3 of Lagos population falls between the age bracket of 16 and 40 years, and this creates good opportunities for investors to tap into. This segment of the population are the major part of the workforce, and they require housing, they require internet provision, they require other major amenities that will be needed to make Lagos a smart city. Therefore, we call on investors to come into Lagos to create and make available all these amenities and service provision, as the government is trying all its best to ensure that there is an enabling environment that will make ease of doing business possible for all investors. We have the numbers and the rates of returns are good. you would not regret investing in Lagos. On this note, I would like to thank you all for listening, and I wish you all fruitful deliberations in the course of this World City Day celebration. Have a lovely time. Thank you.
So if you haven't had the opportunity to get to Lagos, it's a really, really wonderful city. As I said, just huge, sixth biggest city in the world, and just very, very dynamic. And so the FIABCI Nigeria chapter, we all get to see them when we're at our World Congresses and FIABCI meetings. And so I really wanted to include them so that we really do have all the world represented. Mark Wong, who is with the city and county of Honolulu on their technical end, if you want to say a few words about your impressions and what's anything you want to share with us from the city side.
I did want to talk about the city smart city program. So much like Chengdu, we have developed a single platform that integrates all kinds of 2D and 3D data. So this is something that we don't normally show outside the city. But as an example, we have a single pane that we can view the city anywhere from the 1850s up through current time and projects that are planned in the future. It used to be that we had all these different systems. We've all integrated them into one platform. So you can overlay things like where the buses are currently running in the city. And in the same screen, you can see the planes flying overhead. We can see reports of homelessness. We can look at all the real property in the city and tax records. So we've taken, in 2017, we had about 15,000 what we call layers of information. And we're currently up at 50,000. So this is, I think, one of the biggest implementations, at least in the United States, where we can see public safety information, all the infrastructure for the city, things like where cultural sites are. Maybe we're concerned about Hawaiian bones that are buried under the ground. When we're looking at planning areas of the city, we can take all these pieces of information and layer them at once. And one of the really nice things that I wish I could show you today, but if you want to schedule another presentation, I'd be more than happy to do this, is that we can dial in sea level rise and see our city buried under more and more water in 3D. So we have very detailed plans of the city. We paid a company on the mainland to model the city in 3D, and it's much greater detail than you're going to see, say, in Google 3D imaging. You can fly under the columns of buildings, but even more than that, for certain buildings, we can actually begin to pick apart the building. So, for example, our City Hall in Kapolei, we can remove the walls. We can see the plumbing inside the building. We can tap on toilets and see how much water those toilets use. And that's really a very powerful demonstration of what our Smart Cities platform can do. Now, some of the other things that we can do are we can model projects within the city, our rail system, and see how the impact of the rail is on the city. All of our transportation systems are tied into that in real time. Our traffic cameras, we can view things like hurricane data and earthquake data in real time as it's affecting the city. And I know a lot of cities have these portals where you can go from site to site and get this information. But what we do is we show this all to you on one page. So it's all put in one place. We also have all the financial information internally in the city, but also things like economic data, our visitor arrivals, our gross domestic product, and projections from the University of Hawaii. In terms of resiliency, we have locations of all the various trees in the city and the species of the trees. We also have communications with the city. So for those people that live in Honolulu, if you've gotten alerts that there's been an accident or a hurricane is coming, that's part of our same platform. It messages out to the city with email or text messaging or push notifications to devices. And we call that hnl.info. We have queuing systems that help manage the flow of citizens into our licensing facility. So you can create appointments, or you can sign up in real time to get appointments at our licensing facilities. And so this is something that we've been working on for 3 years. And our idea is that instead of maintaining 400 different systems at the city, we will consolidate this into, as much as we can, into one system and make much more effective use of the city's IT staff in terms of development. And I think, well, another thing that makes this unique, at least in the United States, is that all this software was developed by the city and county of Honolulu. It was not outsourced to another company to develop for the city. It was all developed in-house. So that's just kind of a real brief introduction, and I know maybe the people in Hawaii would like a more detailed presentation, but since I only found out about this this conference on Friday, I didn't have time to put our staff together to do a presentation, but I'd be more than happy to do that in the future, and I know Ed could make that happen.
Perfect. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that's really, we're kind of on, it's very clear that we're on a precipice here. You know, you're talking about 3 years with Chengdu and the smarts, you know, the brain, the city brain. Nigeria is moving in the direction. So it seems like the fog is clearing, and we're really starting to see how these things can work together. Chad, did you want to say anything right off the bat?
I'm very pleasantly surprised and amazed at what you guys are doing on that. You know, getting, you know, disparate data. You know, we talk about data, right? But we need information from the data. And if we have data over there and then some data over there, you know, it's all over the place. You can't really understand and derive the information. And what Mark just explained is a wonderful, you know, approach to getting it on one platform, so that you're almost creating a data lake, and then you can pull, you know, on these different data sets over what decision you need to make better. Then you can like kind of grab from your library of goodies to perform the data analytics that you really need. Great. I'm so happy.
I want to give one little story that kind of demonstrates how large this is. We had the CIO, the Chief Information Officer from the White House, come to visit us in the city. And she told us about the federal government's data site, open data site, and all the different sets of data that they had there. And I said, well, everything you have, we have here, because we have robots that have pulled all that information and stored all of the federal databases on our system as well. So she would name all these different things that they have, and we had them in there.
Wow.
So like I said, we have upwards of 50,000 different layers in our GIS system, and that's just GIS 2D data. We have 3D data as well. So it is, it's not really a data lake. It's more like a data ocean. It's really a huge amount of information.
I'm moving back to Hawaii.
Excellent. And so the prepared, just so that we want to kind of get back to the idea, you know, the digital technologies have the potential to serve people, improve public services and our working conditions, but there's still persistent digital divides remain. As the Nigerian presentation said, you know, half the population, you know, maybe they're older or they don't have the ability to use these technologies. So the question is, how can the digital revolution be directed and governed in an inclusive way? How do we make sure that everybody is included in this digital revolution that we're talking about? Because, you know, we've got the city officials, we've got the developers, and then we've got the citizens. So what can we do to make sure that everybody benefits from this system and not just those at the higher end?
Maybe I can take that. We have been converting a lot of the city's internal systems to digital. And I hate to say, but you will never get 100% of all people on this, at least not in our lifetimes. there are really some enormous issues that, and I'm going to speak just about Hawaii because that's really my focus here. It's not just internet and the ability to have computers. We have a tremendous issue with people with disabilities. So there are people with visual disabilities that make using computers very difficult. And it's just been magnified by the fact that we're online. People didn't really complain that when we had paper systems, visually impaired people couldn't see the paper. But now if you put up a site where someone that has problem seeing, the lawyers are going to be after you for ADA compliance. The other challenge that we have here is that 26.5% of Hawaii residents over the age of 5 speak a language other than English at home. So we have a huge challenge with having software that deals with all these different languages. And part of Hawaii's immigrants are people from just 4 different federated states in Micronesia. And between those 4 states, they alone speak 17 languages and different dialects. So there's a tremendous challenge when you're dealing with a population that speaks so many different languages. It's very, very difficult to deliver 100% of your services digitally. So I think the best thing that we can try to do, and that what we've done within the city, is to clean up our own house and make sure that we're digitally connected within the city. And I know that's not the approach that other cities have taken. Other cities have taken the approach that they will put a digital wrapper around their old systems. But I think that's going to be a dead end. You really need to fix your systems internally so that delivering things digitally becomes effortless. And that's a huge amount of work, but I think that's the only way to do it. For you guys that are in the building industry, it's like putting a nice glass storefront around an old building that has terrible plumbing and electrical. That's only going to make it look nice on the outside, but it's not going to really make the building work well. You need to renovate the whole thing and fix all the infrastructure within the building. And I think at this point, that's where at least American cities are. They need to fix their digital infrastructure within government. But as the young people get older, I think we're going to be probably approaching 60 or 70% of the population that expects to have these systems on mobile apps and on websites. So I think it's something that we really need to be working on now. But 100%, that's a tough goal.
And step by step. I mean, I think that's the idea, is step by step. And I think you have to have a strategy and a plan, as Cha was talking about. You have to set goals and then measure, and set goals and measure, and set goals and measure. And so I think that's really key. Yuan or King, do you want to say anything?
To add that the city brain actually it creates the pool to collect all kinds of data from different city departments and public utilities. So just as I mentioned, it gathers nearly 4 billion pieces of city operations data. Since it's been put into use, and it encouraged the citizens to join the government with city operation, because it can leave any kind of messages on the website, or they can call the mayor hotline to help the government better manage and operate the cities and the public service. So that's what I want to add. Thank you.
Thank you.
Something, because Mark's comments recommended me something, a piece of news a few days ago. The largest hospital in China is located in Chengdu, called Western China Hospital. And a few days ago, the hospital changed its booking system all online. So every person, old or new, old or young, if you want to set a meeting with a doctor, you have to use your WeChat account or log onto the website to make a booking ahead of time. But a lot of elder people actually, they account for a large proportion of the patients. They can't have access to the internet, or they don't know how to use the WeChat booking system. That the event has drawn a lot of discussion on the social internet. So people are thinking, although we're digitalized, where the city is more intelligent, but we should not forget that there are some people, maybe because their educational background, or maybe because they are disabled, or for maybe because of their age, they can't have convenient access to those facilities. How can we design our system more convenient to them? This is a problem we should, especially the policymakers, should think about.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you. I think that's, and I think that just the brain power that we have on this call, and the idea, you start with, you've got to want to, you've got to recognize that there's a problem. And I think we all have we get really fascinated by all these numbers and these opportunities. So then, whether it was with Eugenia talking about a community center, or if we have young people who go around and help people, I think that's what the purpose of this call and what we're talking about is to say, okay, here's where we're going, but let's make sure that we don't leave anybody behind. And so that's a kind of thing we say, okay, maybe we have the WeChat core who goes and says, hey, can I help you today? Is there something I can do? So all these things are solvable. I mean, that's the key, is that there are solutions here as long as we really think about and think about how to do that. And so, but the point being, as we have all of these beautiful bells and whistles, let's make sure to include everybody and think about that. So, Ed, did you have something else?
Bill, could I add something?
Yep.
Yeah. So I just wanted to just point out one thing, and I think the Chengdu, Yunan's, and Ching's presentation about the video, especially when they showed and I think what it tried to show was this, the customer response center, if you will, where people call in and try to get answers to whatever they have. And I think, for us, for our city and county, pre-COVID, we had all these various places that people could call into. If it was about permitting, they go to permitting. If there's about police, they go to police. If they go to the emergency operations center for hurricane information, they go there. But since that time, the city has committed to standing up a central call center, a city call center, where everybody can go to. OneOahu.org is our website, and one single phone number that they could go to. And if there are questions, they can be farmed out to other people. We've instituted that, and that's going to be going forward. The second thing is that, especially in the city and county of Honolulu, we are very fortunate to have a lot of nonprofit organizations, organizations that cater to certain communities, ethnic groups, those who need physical help, all these various organizations. I think the last time I was with a nonprofit once before, I think there's over 50,000 people employed in Honolulu in nonprofits. And they cater to certain sectors. And I think if there's a partnership, between the city and these groups, and I think Chunghwa, you mentioned that you got to have that community, right? Private partnership and the academia. We have a very robust academia too, which is great. But we also have this community structure in the nonprofit organizations. And I think all those need to work together. And if you have a central call center, you will have a response ability, to respond to that and make sure that people that need the kind of help that Ching and Yudan and the others talked about can be serviced.
Perfect. Absolutely. That's all the players. And I'm really glad. I mean, FIABCI is a not-for-profit or a civil society organization. And so everyone has their role to play. We're almost out of time. Any final words?
I have a question for Mark.
Yes.
Do you ever smile?
Sure. Was I not smiling?
No, in seriousness, where do you see yourself going over the next 2 or 3 years? You've done so much. What are some things on your plate to make it even better?
Well, the biggest thing that we have left to do at the city, I think, is our biggest customer citizen-facing systems, and those are the motor vehicle licensing and the driver licensing systems. And they're over 50 years old. So we're about, I don't want to let the cat out of the bag, but this is probably in a week or so, we're going to be doing a public announcement for the first major modernization of that system with our large automobile dealers. So these are big systems that eclipse every other computer system that the public has to deal with. So over the next 4 years, I want to renovate all of those, and then I want to retire after that. I should also mention Jeff's dad and my dad worked together, and he mentioned this neighborhood Makakilo. Well, my dad was the architect for that. He was Howard Wong, architect for Makakilo, and Eugenia in New York. Before he came back to Hawaii, his project was Lincoln Center. So we're used to doing a lot of being exposed to a lot of these big redevelopments of areas within towns. But yeah, it's an exciting place to work, and I'm just glad to see that Hawaii can be innovative. And we're stuck out in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, and we have a lot of disadvantages here. But I think there are a lot of opportunities that we have here, especially with our sister cities, to learn from them and maybe to share some things that we've done. But yeah, I love working here, and the city and county is a great place to work.
And you're
Judy,
smiling now.
Yeah, he's smiling now. Yeah. Judy, do you want to give us closing words?
I certainly do. I want to thank all of our panelists, everyone that has been participating, not just today, but also with our 2 days of the UN Habitat earlier this month. I think that what this is showing us is that there is so much more that is going on in the world. And I'm glad that our United Nations is providing us this framework, the opportunity to reach out and see what expertise there is, find out the examples that are out there. And I will tell you, this is a continuing dialogue. So we are going to make sure that we continue this dialogue. The expertise and the future is, yes, in a sense, the future is now, but there's so much more to come. And we thank you all again. Thank you, those of you who are participating. We will be this is recorded, so we will make sure that it's available. And hopefully we can schedule our next event very, very soon. Bill?
Thank you all. Thank you very, very much for this. We will see you definitely next October for Urban October again. Again, thanks for everyone. Bye-bye. See you soon.
Thank you, Bill, for organizing this. Judy, thanks. Good seeing you again.
It was wonderful. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Chin
you.
and
Thank you all for sharing the information, and good night.
Oh, yes.
It's good morning now.
Okay.
Get a cup of coffee and have breakfast.
Bye.
Aloha.